Welcome back to Sprague Homestead. So today we're going to work on the second part of the long-awaited greenhouse hoop project. I know it's been actually a year and a half in the making anyway, but we are looking at 30-degree weather coming up, so it is time to get this thing covered so that I can save my cucumber plants. So we did film some of this before, back when we started framing the front entry door, and we've lost a computer in the meantime, so we're not sure that we've got the footage for any of that. So let's kind of show you what we've done, and I'll kind of explain what we're doing. Okay, if I remember right, at the end of part one, we had gotten the panels on and tied together. So what we've done from there is we've put this foam insulation wrap. It's just the stuff that comes for like $1.60 or whatever for an 8 or 10 foot piece. It's adhesive. Why we're sticking this on here is to keep the metal points that are on the edge of the cattle panels from puncturing through our cover when we pull our cover on. We go ahead and we just use duct tape at the junctions because it's in pieces, and just kind of to hold it on. Now this stuff has actually been on for a year and a half, so it looks a little rough. And then what we did is we came through and we framed up our door opening. Now your door opening is going to vary based on what kind of door you're using. We actually have a prefab screen door kit, a like $100 screen door from Home Depot that I've had forever that we're going to use for this. Which I believe was a 36-inch. I didn't double check that, but so you just kind of frame in your door, make sure it's good and square and plumb. Ours, so because we're using such a big door, you might notice we've had to overstretch the panels a little bit. What this did, because our panels were already kind of warped, is it kind of put a lot of tension on this. That's what this thing is in here for right now. It's just kind of holding the whole thing together. We're going to take this apart and do something different here in a minute, but that's kind of what we've done up to this point. So as I mentioned in the last update video, part of what's been taking so long on this is that I've changed the plan for the back a good dozen times. I'm still not sure exactly what I want to do back here, but what we're going to do today is just get it done because the cold weather is coming. So come spring, I might be tearing the back end of this thing off and redoing it. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to put a 4x4 post in up to the roof. And then we're going to put a 2x4 down the middle to support for the snow. Then we're going to bring in a couple angled braces to kind of hold the whole shebang, you know, square and upright and all that good stuff on the back. And then we're going to go back to the front and fix some of that, put in some extra supports, and get ready, hopefully, to put the cover on today. Alright, so you can see we've got our upright in, we've got our two support pieces. They're nailed down there or screwed down there with the big metal plates that are like 50 cents at Home Depot. So you might notice our hoop is really screwy looking. Remember, we started out with old, used, busted up panels. So this side doesn't really straighten out like it should. This side is better, but because we overstretched the front end to keep a good peak to it, we are overstretched just a touch on the back. So basically, from the bottom of our pressure or the top of our pressure treated on the bottom, all the way to the top of the peak is the same at both ends. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to cut our support piece for the center. We're going to do that, and then we'll get down there and frame the other end, and then we will be about ready for cover. So if you remember, this thing is 16 feet long, so we used a 16-foot board down the center. It's, of course, cut off a little bit. I think we ended up at like 187, roughly. So as Kanan will show you when he'll take the camera inside, you've got a like a cheap little Home Depot brace that sits in there that's screwed to the 4x4, and then it's actually notched on the other end to sit in over the doorway.
Once the beam is up there, you can see we've now used some baling twine to just lash it down basically and tie it down to the beam itself. That keeps the panels from really kind of moving around against the beam. So if I show you up above, and I know you're thinking baling twine, but the Homestead rule is one does not simply throw away baling twine. All right, so now we all did also finish the front. So we've got ours double braced because we had a lot of tension, because kind of the panels, like Nikki had said, they're kind of warped a little bit and they're older ones. We've actually double braced this in the front. So you can see there's kind of a brace behind where the door is going to go, and those make a better A-frame itself. So that gives you side-to-side tension and side-to-side squareness on the door. Now the ones on the front, you can kind of see these ones right here. Those are meant just to hold the plastic down. So we'll wrap the plastic around and tie it onto that, and that gives us extra support. Now, if you don't have a lot of tension, you probably don't need these inner ones right here. This A-frame, there's my finger, but that A-frame there is really the structure to it all. The outer ones are just there. So you guys can decide, ooh, the wind. You guys can decide which ones you need from there to keep everything square and tight, and then just what you need to wrap your plastic around. The next piece we're going to do is the cover itself. Now this is something we bought. It's 18 feet long by 20 feet wide. So the 18 goes the length of the greenhouse this way, and the 20 goes up and over. Now we actually did cut 2 feet off here, and it goes down to about the bottom of the first 6-foot board, or the 6-inch board I should say, going on the bottom. So it's really more of like an 18 by 18 after we cut off the little bit of extra here. And that's what's sitting up on the quad right there. So now Nikki's going through and she's taking her stapler and just kind of stapling it down real quick. Now the staples aren't very tough, so they're kind of having trouble with the board to go through. So you can see her stapling and then using a hammer just to kind of knock them in a little bit extra. But she's got the bottom edge already done around, and then she's just doing the side or the back here, really doing it this way. Now she had said previously that one of the things she wanted to do was potentially next spring change the design on the rear. Now, she talked about doing a window and some other things, and really haven't decided yet. So we decided, well, really she decided that she was going to put the main greenhouse film on and then put the back end cover over top of it versus under. Now doing it over, she only has to take off that piece to change the back if she wants to add a window or anything else. And that'll make it easier for spring. So if this is going to be your permanent solution, you may choose to put the ends on before going on to the main piece itself. It may be easier for you to do it that way.
All right, so once we've got the cover on and secured, it's just loosely stapled every 6-8 inches, whatever I thought it needed to stay on. When you pleat the back or on the front, you want to make sure that the pleats are over with the pleat underneath. That way you don't catch a bunch of water and rip the thing off. So go through and you staple over the cover, pull it over as tight as you can, and now that we've got the main part, we're going to go ahead and put the plastic over the end piece.
The next piece to it, we went and grabbed some of the dome leftover plastic. So you can see there's a definite difference between what has gone up over the dome itself to what is on the very back triangle. That opening there will help bring in some daylight, and then if Nikki chooses, she can take that off because it's on the outside, and we can then change that over in the spring. So I'll just kind of show you. You can look peeking in here, if I get out of the way a little bit. You can still see it's still translucent enough that you can still get plenty of daylight in there to actually see, and then it's just overlapped. So this plastic comes down to roughly the inside. This plastic comes all the way over to the outside. So you can see it's overlapped a good 3 inches at least that way. Again, the front, even though it has a doorway, is the similar way. So you can see there's translucent or the dome plastic from this beam, which is going to be the edge of the door, over here. So this has got overlap about 3 inches from the outside material to the other piece. So you can see translucent, doorway, back to translucent. If I just show you kind of walking in here, What a windbreak plus plenty of heat in here. It's actually warm enough. It's only about 65 or so outside. Inside here, I can tell you it's probably 70 plus, just from having the plastic on. All right, and the last piece we had mentioned, these staples were just kind of temporary. So what Nikki is doing now is she's got some lath that she is putting down there, which is roughly about 1/4 inch by 1.5 inches or so, just little strips. And she's nailing that on with her cordless nailer. That will just go over, it's gonna hold it down very, very well. You don't have to worry about it coming back off like the staples could rip through. This lath will hold it down even through probably 20 or 30 mile an hour winds is what we've seen before. So we'll see what it does here, but this will give it some good holding pattern.
All right, so with all the lath stripping on, the covers are on, ends, front. So far it seems pretty good. I think I hear my squash and my eggplant down there already getting excited, like, oh, sunshine. So the last thing we have to do on this project to finish it off is just going to be to put the door on. We're not going to show that in this video. We're kind of running out of time. So we're just going to kind of leave it at that. We'll show you the door on a later episode, probably on an update video coming up or something. How you do the door is totally dependent on what kind of door you bought. So since ours is a prefab store-bought screen door, I'm just going to follow the instructions and put it on. So that is it for this project. If you've got questions, go ahead and put it down in the bottom. Yeah, I guess that's it. Kanan, you got anything?
No, hope everybody's happy. That's part 2.
Yep, so there's part 2. You can quit asking about it. I know it took 1.5 years to get it, but it's finally done, finished, and I guess that's a wrap from Sprague Homestead. We will see you next time. I'm going to go get some water and take a break. Happy homesteading.
One thing I'll add in there real quick is that we're going to try and grow in this all winter, right?
Yeah, we are going to try and grow in it all winter.
So there you go, guys. This will be the true test. Can this survive 0 and minus below with one of these?
We'll see.
We'll see. So happy homesteading, everybody.
See you next time.